Hello everyone. Over the next few days I'll be doing a few videos here and there about the election process, talking about electoral colleges and a few other things when it comes to the election process and other information about the way things work, the story behind the story as usual. Today what I want to talk about is this is for Louisiana voters, so if you're not interested, that's what this video is going to be about, is Louisiana, the 6 constitutional amendments that will be on the November 8th ballot. We're going to go through each one of them, and I will tell you if I'm voting yes or no, and I will tell you why. And the other videos I'll do as well with other candidates and things like that as well. So anyway, without further ado, let's talk about the 6 proposed amendments on the for the Constitution on Election Day. First of all, what's an amendment? What an amendment does, you're just adding to the Constitution. So every time one of these amendments are passed, you're just making the Constitution of Louisiana more complex and more laws on top of laws, and it's more difficult to comprehend. So right off the bat, a constitutional amendment in your mind should spell a no. You have to make that. It doesn't mean they're all going to be a no, but more often than not, you should vote no, because a yes, again, is just adding more laws and more convolution to the process. So just like innocent until proven guilty, well, this is no until you convince me yes. So let's take the first one, proposed amendment number 1. It establishes new requirements for local registrar or voters. What that does, when you read into it, it basically, by the way, all this is you can find online. Different websites. You get it from the department, from the Louisiana Department of Legislature, and they'll give you the yes and the whys and the why nots. So anyways, what this is saying is basically to make the job of a registrar or voter, the registrar, make the job more qualifying, a more qualified position, such as a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university, and at least 2 years of full-time professional work exercise, or an associate degree from an accredited college or university, and at least 4 years of full-time professional work experience, or 7 years of full-time professional work experience, or 5 years of full-time employment in Louisiana Registrar's Office. Okay, it enacts, it also, the fine print they won't tell you, it enacts Act 414 and 336, which specifies what a local governing body must do to satisfy. It's some acts that pass, and this is the way they try to get it in there, to make you vote on it. What it's trying to do is just make it more difficult and for that position at the courthouse, your registrar. This is my opinion. I think it's fine the way it is. Okay, number 1, you have people that are highly qualified for this position. I'm not saying that the job isn't significant, but this isn't, rocket science or whatever where you need a specific education for. There are perfectly qualified people in your parish, in our parish, or wherever, who can do this job. We don't need someone with a college education. This is what's going to happen if you start upping the qualifiers. What's the next thing that's going to happen? Well, I'm qualified. I have a college degree. I have this, and this. Well, what do? You got it. Let's raise taxes. So that's going to be the first thing. Let's raise taxes because this position is offered more money. What this sounds like to me is a brother-in-law deal. It was from a congressman in Calcasieu Parish who proposed this. That just sounds like a brother-in-law deal. Someone trying to get their family member or friend that office, and something is going on, whatever. So I'm voting no for amendment number 1. Amendment number 2, tuition and fee autonomy to college management boards. What this is wanting to do is let the colleges in Louisiana be able to set the tuition. They can raise the tuition. It's never going to go down. It's to raise tuition at hand instead of the going through the legislature. Now, the argument for this is that we're only one of 2 states where this process happens. Everywhere else, the colleges can make their own revenue and everything. Well, we're also, if you want to look at us that are different from other states, we have about 20 or so colleges in our state. That's community colleges, vocational colleges and universities. And our population is about 4.5 million. Go to Florida, have about the same amount of colleges, around 20. Their population is 20 million. So we already have too many schools, and which is why tuition is wanting to be raised. Because, by the way, these are all state employees that work at these universities. So if there is any kind of issue with funding or tuition, it needs to go through the legislature. So I'm voting no for that as well. Constitutional proposed amendment number 3. Okay, this one is to, I didn't write down the, it is to, do you support an amendment to eliminate the deductibility of federal income taxes paid to computing state corporate income taxes? What this is the corporate, the way it's structured now. All the corporations or businesses in Louisiana, they whatever amount they pay in federal income tax, when they go file their state tax, they can use that as a deduction to where, in essence, paying less state tax than showing the whole amount that the company grossed. So what this is proposing to do is cut out that deduction, which would raise more revenue for Louisiana. It's raising taxes, okay? Now, the Louisiana economy is not very strong right now. Going around and raising taxes is not the best thing, in my view. In fact, since John Bell Edwards and a whole host of other people, even when Bobby Jindal was there, but John Bell Edwards is really putting his foot down, raising taxes left and right. I mean, when's it going to stop? Taxes, taxes, taxes. You want to create more revenue, we need to cut down on spending. It's a spending problem. It's not a revenue problem. Bobby Jindal doubled the budget. It was $12 billion when he got in office. When he got out, it's $24 billion. Now it's around $28 billion already. John Bell Edwards he'd probably double it as well. So anything that's going to raise taxes. By the way, when your boss or your company you work for, when they raise taxes, don't expect to prosper and get a raise. It affects everyone. It's not affecting the corporation. It's affecting everyone who works for them. Also, it's going to scare away businesses from coming to Louisiana. Who wants to pay a higher corporate tax? Okay, why would corporations want to come here and pay a higher tax rate when they can go to another state that pays less taxes? You have to look at that too. Lower taxes will bring in more business. So no for number 3. Amendment number 4. Do you support an amendment to authorize an exemption from ad valorem property tax for the total assessed value of the homestead of an unmarried surviving spouse of a person who died while on active duty? It goes on to say, law enforcement, and this is one of those few exceptions that I would say yes. I would vote yes for number 4. What it's saying is if someone dies in combat in the line of duty, that their spouse would get basically just tax exemption, property tax exemption. I'm all for lowering tax. They deserve it. Your significant other or your spouse died from in the line of duty protecting and serving our country. I think the family should be protected. So amendment number 4 is a yes for me. Amendment number 5. This is another tax-raising proposal, and by the way, it's actually proposed by the same Democrat Representative Walt Leger III, the same person wanted to raise the corporate taxes in Louisiana. He's the one to raise the taxes here too on amendment number 5, which is, do you support an amendment to establish the Revenue Stabilization Trust Fund for the deposit of recurring mineral and corporate tax revenues to restrict the use of the fund to 10% of the balance and when the balance reaches $5 billion. Basically, what this is to take the money out of the general fund and lock it in other projects. When you read on it, what it says is the part they don't tell you is that it's to keep paying these contractors, and it also says wages and everything as well. But it's also these frivolous contracts that we have that our budget is so bloated. So what this is going to do is rob from Peter to pay Paul, take it out of the general fund where the legislature can decide where the money goes. Okay, this is taking it away from them and saying, no, we're not going to give you all of it. We're just going to give you this. We can take the rest and put it here, lock it in for something else. Well, that's what all these politicians want to do. Lock it in for their pet projects, lock it in here, lock it in everywhere else. The answer is lowering our spending. You can't just keep stealing from one pile to pay for the other. And then what's going to happen? That's going to be locked in. Now, the general fund is low. Now we need to raise more taxes. So eventually, in essence, it all comes back to raising more taxes on us. And so that's a no. Constitutional Amendment number 6. Do you support an amendment to authorize the use of up to 5% per year appropriation or allocation for stationary and certain constitutionally created funds, or up to 1% of the year's balance, and blah, 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 blah. That's more raising taxes. It offers no solution. This is just a Band-Aid for a long-term fix. I mean, a long-term problem. It's just a short-term fix. You can't. All these amendments, they try to make it sound good, but it's not. If you're not lowering the budget, then it won't be good. Anyway, just to recap, amendment number 1, no. Number 2, no. Number 3, no. Number 4 is my only yes. Number 5, no. Number 6, no. That's my opinion on it. That's how I will be voting. Stay tuned. I will have some more videos later explaining the electoral college process and how that works and what your vote actually means. And you can also check out most of these videos I put on YouTube as well. Thanks for watching.